Okay.
And we are
Hello,
live.
hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome
You
to
too.
Systemic Conversations, where we explore the hidden dynamics that shape our relationships, our choices, and our inner world. I'm Carole Douillot, and as always, I'm joined by my dear friend and colleague, Orianne Corman.
Hello, everyone. Each episode, we open a window into the systemic perspective, a way of seeing life that connects the personal with the collective, the visible with the invisible.
And today, we're exploring something that touches every one of us: hurt. Because we've all been hurt by words that stayed with us, by love that didn't feel safe, by moments when we thought, what's wrong with me? And wonder why the same kind of pain keeps returning. Um, but what if these wounds were not just personal? What if there were echoes from much earlier stories?
Yes, that's true, Carol. Thank you. And behind our everyday reaction, like withdrawing when we feel rejected or needing to be perfect to feel worthy, there is often a systemic pattern. In constellation, we sometimes discover that we call our pain started long before us.
Okay. So you might notice you always end up feeling left out, or you give everything in relationships and still feel unseen. It's not that you're broken, it's that your system learned very early on that love and safety weren't guaranteed, and it built strategies to survive that.
Exactly. Well said, Carol. We built what Lise Bourbeau calls masks, but we could simply say habits of protection. For example, the one who fears rejection might keep people at a distance to avoid being hurt again. The one who fears abandonment might cling or overgive. The one who has known humiliation might try to be invisible. And all of this makes perfect sense once we understand the context.
Mhm.
Context is very important.
Yeah, and talking about context, I think it'd be good for our audience to bring these different phases of hurt to life. So, for example, we have rejection, and rejection can feel like that inner voice whispering, "I don't believe belong anywhere." Yeah, the feeling that you never belong anywhere. Systematically, no, I can't say this word. Systemically, it can mirror someone who was excluded. So, someone in our system that was excluded, a child who wasn't welcome, a relative who disappeared from the story. So, for instance, I remember a woman who always felt invisible at work. During a constellation, we discovered that she was unconsciously I- identifying with a stillborn sister no one ever spoke of. So probably it was not even known. When she turned towards that sister and said, "You belong too," something softened. And her colleagues later described her as more present, as if she had finally taken her rightful place.
Wow, that's beautiful, Carol. And I want to talk about abandonment. Abandonment often feels like being alone in a crowded room. I don't know if it makes sense for you. Sometimes a parent was physically there but emotionally absent, or they
Mm.
were grieving someone else. I once worked with a man who couldn't bear being alone, and in his constellation, he saw his mother as a young woman standing beside her twin who had died at birth. And this grief she never expressed had left him searching for her attention all his life. When he acknowledged that lost twin, he could finally feel her love reach him fully.
Incredible. Hmm. So then there's, as we said earlier, humiliation. So humiliation we can describe as the deep shame that makes us hide parts of ourselves. In constellation, we often discover that shame belongs to an older generation, to a family secret, or a fall from grace. One client carried a chronic sense of worthlessness. The constellation revealed her grandfather had been imprisoned for fraud, a story that had been kept hidden in the family. When she looked at him and said, I see what happened, and I leave that with you, a heaviness lifted.
That's impressive. And about betrayal, that heartbreak of promises broken. Sometimes we carry the memory of a broken trust that isn't ours. A client once told me, I always end up disappointed in love. In her consolation, she discovered her grandmother had been abandoned by her fiancé just before the wedding.
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah, when she honored that woman's pain, she realized she was free to experience a different kind of love, the one that didn't start with fear.
Powerful, very powerful. And then finally, there's injustice, that tightening in the chest when life feels unfair. It often hides love for someone who was treated unjustly. So I've got the story of a man who came to a workshop saying, I can't relax. I always have to fight for what's right. It turned out that his grandfather had been wrongly accused during the war. When he bowed to that story, so really bowed, and he said, I see how unfair it was for you. He stopped needing to carry that battle forward.
Wow. Um, I noticed the huge impact a constellation can have.
Mm.
So, when we understand the roots of our wounds, guilt turns into compassion for ourselves and for those who came before. And when we stop blaming and we start, so we are able to start taking responsibility. Yes, this hurt lives in me, and I can do something different from
Yes.
now.
Yeah, so we have a choice. Yeah, we can
Mm,
take responsibility. So these wounds often show up in everyday life, actually, in our relationships, in burnout, in codependence, even in addictions. So there are ways the system tries to protect love until we find a gentler way to reconnect.
mm. And very often these wounds play out through relational games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this thing.
No, tell us.
But yes, it's about unconscious dynamics where we find ourselves rescuing, accusing, or feeling victimized again and again and again and again.
Mm.
When we see them systemically, we can step out of the role and back into balance.
Yeah, that's the drama triangle, isn't it?
Mm,
Hmm. So that's the beauty of constellations. They don't try to fix who you are, they help you remember where you come from. When the forgotten stories are seen and honored, something inside relaxes. The protector can rest. The part that kept replaying the same hurt can finally say, it's over.
ah, that's good.
Yeah.
And often the healing doesn't come through long explanations, but through a single moment of truth, a gesture, a look, or a few words. When someone says, I see you, you belong, what can happen? Years of tension can dissolve in seconds. That's the power of this work. It restores movement where life was frozen.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're selling it well. Okay, so just to put things into perspective, what if your deepest pain was never a flaw, but an invitation to heal something much older?
Yeah, when we can look at our hurt with tenderness, not as something to fix, but as a messenger of love, something shifts. The pain stops repeating and begins to transform. It's like alchemy.
Nice. And as you listen, maybe you've recognized one of these wounds in yourself, like rejection, abandonment, shame, betrayal, or injustice. Just notice how they move in your life and what they might be asking to be seen or honored.
And if you are accompanying others as a coach, a therapist, or simply a human being, it's what we do most
Mm-hmm.
of the time. Remember that behind every defense, there is a story of love that once got interrupted. When that love is seen, healing naturally follows.
Very, very nice. So, before we go, a little note about what's coming next. Many of you have been asking how constellations actually work, what happens in a session, how it can be done online or in groups, or what people really gain from it.
So, in our next episode, we are opening the doors and taking you
Yay.
behind the scene of constellation work. We will explain the different formats, share real examples from our practice, and help you understand whether this approach might be right for you.
So, if you've been curious, unsure, or simply wanting to understand more, this episode is for you. Join us next time on Systemic Conversation. Before we go, Orianne, I think you have a message for our audience.
Yeah, because we are uh, almost at the end of 2025. And we want, Carole and I, to thank you so much for following our um, systemic conversation. And thank you also for liking our videos and support us. So this is very important to send you our gratitude, and we wish you a beautiful new year, and we wish you also the realization of everything you want to achieve. So, and
And lots
we
of
are
healing as
happy.
well.
Sorry.
Healing as well.
Yes, healing, and we hope to meet you at one of our workshop
Afro.
or anything we organize. So thank you for joining us in this conversation, and may it bring gentleness to the parts of you that still ache, and remind you that healing is never, never, never solitary. It's always connected.
So, as we mentioned earlier, if this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and leave us a comment. It helps more people. The more people discover these conversations, we love sharing our knowledge with you.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
See you on the other
gratitude.
side.
Bye. And thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.